So, looks like we've had two people that have subscribed for this, but I'm pretty sure that the room will fill up as time goes on. I wanted to get started because I always seem to forget to press the recording button when I'm doing these blabs. So anyway, I decided, hey, I remember to press the recording button. Let me get started. Anyway, I had scheduled this blab for earlier, and it was called Blabophobia. Could fear of live streaming video be hurting your business? And we didn't really get many subscribers, which I was kind of surprised because I've actually had several clients and actually have spoken to several people that have gotten comfortable with Blab that have just gotten scared of being online and really don't seem to be used to the, I guess, the non-structure of platforms. So I said, well, let me talk about something else that I think has, or I know has been very beneficial for my business. And I wanted to share some of the things that I've done because my goal here is to always try to bring value to you, the business owner or the entrepreneur. And one thing that I wanted to talk about is strategically positioning and leveraging your business for growth. So I'm going to share a few tips, what I've done. The reason I want to bring it up and discuss it is it's actually raised some eyebrows when I've told some of my colleagues about what I've done. And actually, I'm finding more of my successful colleagues have pretty much done the same thing. So I want to share out there the Blab community, trying to bring some value. My name is Franklin Rivera. I am the founder and CEO of FD Rivera and Associates and Viral Visual Marketing. We like to call ourselves digital business growth strategists, or as someone had coined us, forensic digital marketers, meaning that we dig deep so that your company can rise higher. So we don't just simply try to get you out there on social media. We are skilled at looking at the entire picture of your company, from the vision to the operational strategies, financial strategies, organizational development, things like that, employee retention. We look at the whole big picture because our belief is that for any company to be successful, all of these areas need to be operating smoothly, efficiently, and in turn that gives your digital marketing plan, or any marketing plan for that reason, a higher probability of success. For too long, many companies have operated with these areas operating independently of each other. And I think there's a lot of disconnect in doing that. That's kind of the same reason why I believe in having a comprehensive digital marketing agency when you're hiring an agency. Efficiency also has to do a lot with communication. And I do believe that some things can get lost in translation when you are trying to communicate certain tasks that need to be done across the board. So that's it. Let's see. A little bit about myself as I wait for more people to jump on the room. I'm a 1987 graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point. Went on to serve in the military in the first Gulf War. After that, I went into corporate America and worked in the pharmaceutical industry, sales and marketing for over 22 years. I've probably launched over 10, 15 products during that time. After which, I left the pharmaceutical industry and got my master's in the concentration in finance, also got licensed in personal finance, and went on to actually same time started building my consulting firm. So, hey, it looks like David Sama joined and then backed back out. So hopefully somebody will come and stay in and get something of value. And we'll just hang out and wait for a little bit. If anybody happens to be watching this blab after, I guess, the replay, or watching it during the replay, please feel free to reach out to me via my email or DM me on Twitter. I'd be more than happy to talk to you and answer any questions that you might have. So I'm going to stop recording this for a second, and then when we get started, I'll start the recording again. Okay? Record and start talking to you. Um, so anyway, we had somebody to join us in a room. I kind of gave an introduction about what I do. Nice upholstery cleaning too. So my name is Frank, and I run a digital business consulting company, and we help businesses grow to the next level using digital marketing and using financial, operational, organizational strategies. So the reason I want to talk about this subject is because as entrepreneurs, a lot of times, you know, we're really struggling and we want to make ends meet, and we're looking for new business out there. And I really think that when you learn how to strategically position and leverage your company, you can see amazing growth in your company. A matter of fact, Luis, is it? Yeah, Luis. So, Louis. Is it Louis or Luis? So, anyway, Louis. So I actually was just speaking to a cleaning company today. It's a prospect of ours, and we are trying to help them take their business to the next level. Now, I would like to say that they are probably in the latter stages of what we would recommend for a business. But a lot of times, if we see a good company that we think has good potential for growth and we want to help them reach that potential, we'll come up with some other ideas to make services affordable for them. So, what I mean by strategically positioning and leveraging your business for growth is if I take a step back, entrepreneurs a lot of times are very good at what they do. Unfortunately, a lot of entrepreneurs are good at what they do, but they might not be good at running certain aspects of their business. The other thing too is a lot of times entrepreneurs will not think outside the realm of what they do as a business owner. So meaning if you happen to be a photographer, for example, a lot of photographers say, okay, I want to get out there and I want to talk to the general public. I want to talk to people that are having either babies and do child photography, wedding photography. Maybe I just want to focus on sports. So a lot of stuff happens to be B2C type of marketing and advertising, and a lot of efforts on social media are driven towards those specific areas. However, a way that a photographer may be able to strategically position or leverage their services is by partnering with a larger company that may be in need of their services. For example, when we were looking at expanding, we said, okay, I've done photography for well over 12, 13 years, and I didn't want to have to do that and run my business. So what did I do? I said, okay, let me look out there. Who do I know that number one is a hard worker? I always see at a lot of events, is pretty good at their craft as a photographer, videographer. And how can I get him to come in and help us help our clients when they need photography or videography services? So what we did is we were able to leverage our existing connections to help this photographer be the main point of contact for most of our clients. Now, normally a photographer may charge a certain amount of money for their services, and there's a couple ways that that could be leveraged. We could say, all right, you know what we're going to do is, hey, thanks a lot. Muchas gracias. So what a lot of companies, photographer companies would do is say, you know what, I'm going to work that photography pricing into the pricing for my clients. That's one way to do it. The second way is if you find that the photographer happens to be more expensive than what you're willing to pay because you don't really want to raise the cost to your clients, you can leverage your existing connections and basically have a photographer have a ready stream of referrals. So for instance, we're expanding now into managing all aspects of a music artist's career, from the finance, the promotion, the production, the marketing, all of that. So what do we tell the photographer is that you are going to have total exclusive access to all of our artists that we're going to be working with, in exchange for a reduction in your costs or a reduction in your pricing. As we grow, more or less, that reduction that you take is going to be made up because of the number of artists that we have that you're shooting for, the number of clients that we have that you're providing your photography services for. So the way that that really works really nice is most people would say, I mean, who really, let me back up, who really is going to say no to a deal like that when they know that they can partner with a firm that's going to have a steady stream of clients? And now they're going to have exclusivity to that client. Another way that you can position yourself is, of course, offering perhaps a discount for any type of exclusivity, or position yourself for a percentage of ownership in the actual company. So this really depends on what type of company that you have. If you happen to give intellectual property to a business, a lot of times, because it seems to be kind of esoteric, or maybe there's a lot of capital constraints, a company will be willing to give you a percentage ownership in their company for your intellectual capital. So that's another way that you can leverage yourself and help your business grow. So as a carpet cleaner and upholstery cleaning and carrying floors, what am I thinking about? I'm thinking about, hey, Crystal, how you doing? Thanks a lot for jumping in. We're kind of just, Crystal is VP of Marketing and Brand Outreach. Hey, cool. Great. So, great. Hey, Army Wives 101. How you doing? So, oh yeah, same person. Okay, so anyway, Crystal, we were really talking about, I was talking to Lewis here about how to position and leverage your company for growth. And let me back up. And Lewis, I apologize for having to repeat some of the stuff we said, but a little bit about myself, Crystal, is that I went to the military academy, West Point, got out of there, got out of there as a lieutenant, served in the first Gulf War. Then I left the military as a captain, went into the healthcare industry in the pharmaceutical, worked for J&J, GlaxoSmithKline, Novartis, and was into sales and marketing. After that, I actually, right after I left the pharmaceutical industry, got a MBA with a concentration in finance, and also got registered as a personal financial advisor. So during that same time, I started to build a consulting company, fell in love with digital media and digital marketing. And I thought that there was a real disconnect. In school, I hated finance, but when I started to take the financial classes, I realized, this is where the rubber meets the road. If you can understand the money, then you can make pretty much everything else work. I mean, money, it just rules a lot of things around us, unfortunately. But if you can understand how businesses can make money, then I think that you could leverage your marketing services even better. So what had happened was, as I was building my company, I was trying to figure out a way that that we would not go into the marketplace as another Me Too company saying, hey, we provide social media, we do digital marketing, pay-per-click, blah, 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 blah. What we wanted to do was become an integral part of a business. In order to do that, we had to leverage ourselves because, quite honestly, we have people that just have certain strengths in certain areas. And while I feel as if myself was perfectly positioned to manage the financial strategies and operational strategies of a company, did I really want to do that? No, because it was a time constraint, and you can't be a jack of all trades and be a master of none. So what we did is we leveraged ourselves. Um, and I went out to the marketplace, did a lot of networking as I'm building up the company, and I started realizing there's a lot of consultants out here that are really brilliant at what they do. So what I proceeded to do was, and this is part of the strategy, leveraging and positioning yourself for growth, is we decided to kind of copy the organizational structure of Johnson and Johnson. Now, for those people that don't know Johnson and Johnson or how it's structured, it's known as the healthcare company, and there's about 200 operating companies underneath it. Yet they all have one credo and one common cause. So I said, why not copy that model and bring in independent consultants underneath our umbrella and let them serve certain areas of our clientele? So what that did was we were positioning ourselves to have access to the networks of all of those other companies. Now, you might ask yourself, what did they happen to get in return? Well, it just so happened we knew that we were more mature in the marketplace. We knew that we had more connections. We've been building up our social media profile for a while. We're connected to several CEOs, decision makers. We knew that we actually had more. They had more to gain by joining with us than we had to gain initially from joining with them. So that was our positioning. And they knew that. They said, hey, look, we're starting out. A lot of these consultants still had some paying jobs. So that was another piece of leverage that we used. Hey, look, we're in this 100%. We eat what we kill. If we don't get a deal, then of course, revenue goes down. However, you still sit back and you can still collect a nice little salary and be kind of comfortable. So how do we know that you have some skin in the game? We're willing to bring you in to use our connections for your, I guess you could say, intellectual capital. And we knew that now we could provide a wider range of service for our clients without us having to do everything. So that was one way that we positioned ourselves. Now, I was sharing with Lewis, another good example is I was in a photography group the other night, and everybody's talking about getting business and pricing and all this other stuff. And I brought up the point, have you ever thought about partnering with a firm that could use your services? For instance, now I did photography professionally for about 8 years, got paid for it, did mostly sports and landscape. And I thought that photography, as you know, Crystal, is very powerful in digital media. So I didn't want to have to go out there and shoot for all of my clients. So what I did is I knew a guy. He was brilliant at what he did, but he just needed business. He was really good, a lot of competition in that space. And he had some great ideas. He had great ideas. One of his ideas was building a creative center in town. Now, this town is one of the largest in the state of Illinois, and they're trying to bring attention back to the town. So any business that can be brought into the town, they would open with wide arms. So he knew the mayor's wife. He knew several people, and he had pitched new venture. They seemed very excited about funding him for that. So I'm thinking, a creative studio. He's already partnered with an attorney that also does real estate. He does photography. We're a digital marketing agency. He's offering for our intellectual property a permanent office space in this new venture of his with no capital outlay from us. So in return, we say, how would you like exclusive access to all of our clients that need photography and event photography? Who's going to say no to that? Of course, he's going to say, right. Yeah, sure. So the benefit to him is now we're venturing into, we're now drawing up the papers to start doing artist management. So a lot of musical artists out there need good representation. They need good business sense to run their music business. And now he does videography, he does photography, because he came in on the low end without with a long-term vision. Now he can see that coming to fruition because now he's going to have exclusive rights to shoot the music videos and the photography for our artists. So that's how we leveraged ourselves. Another way that we started leveraging ourselves, which has been very, very, I don't want to say lucrative, but a lot of times you have to position your company for long-term growth. I think what happens is, especially as entrepreneurs, and unfortunately, the first thing that takes a hit is our pricing models. We lower our pricing, we devalue our actual worth simply because we need to put food on the table. It actually happened with the cleaning company I was talking to today, Lewis. He was telling me about a competitor. He said he actually came over to work for me, one of their workers. I know all their processes, I know what they do, and they don't clean that good. We have a higher quality of cleaning, yet they charge a higher price because they're a franchise. And I said to him, people don't care whether you're a franchise or not. They don't know the difference between you being an individual company or being a franchise. I understand they have to pay franchise fees, but that's not your problem. So you're offering people more quality for a lower price. The issue with you and your growth is partly your pricing. You're not pricing yourself. Because now people are saying, why is this, I don't want to say crappy, but why is this other crappy service charging more than you? You must be really bad. So that was one aspect of it. But let me get back on point. And one thing that we started to do is, especially when it comes to, thank you, especially when it comes to people that cannot afford services, okay? Our prices have gone up simply because we're growing. And there's a lot of great entrepreneurs out there. I just have a big heart. I just want to help people. I think that we go through experiences to give back, not to keep everything to ourselves. There's a reason why we all go through what we go through. So if I see a great idea and I see somebody that's dedicated, they're working hard, yet they say, I need marketing and I can't afford it. Well, usually they can't afford it because there's a lot of other things going on. There's employee retention problems. There's incorrect pricing. There's bad operations. You're just spread too thin. You're trying to be a jack of all trades, a master of none. You need to concentrate on what you're good at. Stick with that. Take a cut in your initial profit margins up front, and then eventually you're going to see it grow because you've outsourced a lot of other things. So what we found a lot of value in for those type of companies is we actually lend our intellectual property and negotiate for a percentage ownership in that company. That is how we position ourselves for recurring revenue over and over again. Now, the bad part about that is you're not going to see, especially if it's a turnaround company or small company, you're not really going to get a big payback or payday for your initial work. And as you know, Crystal, digital marketing, social media, because I think I was reading that you do social media. Let me see here. Well, yeah, you're a VP of marketing and brand. Yeah, okay. So, so as you know, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. Sweet. Yeah, it's a lot of work. And I don't know how any company has, Uncle Jim Bob or cousin Yin Yang, handling all of their social media or even marketing for that sake. So you're not going to see an initial payoff from an agreement like that, but the payoff down the road is huge, huge. Hope I'm not making funny faces on here. So what we do is, think of yourself like think of yourself like Shark Tank. Those guys get rich because they look for a good opportunity. They invest for a percentage of ownership in the company. The more money you invest, the larger ownership you can get in that business. If you don't have to invest any capital in that business, believe me, 10, 20% ownership is fine. For instance, I was telling a prospect of mine, great, a lot of, wants to get to about 2 million in revenue, small independent company, really can't afford our services. It probably put their company in the negative. So we actually, I got a good feeling. I've known this person for a long time. Probably would not step out on a limb like this, but I basically said, hey, look, you know what? We're going to put together a marketing plan. We're going to split the cost of marketing plan over 4 months. What happens after 4 months? I'm like, well, we only need X amount of clients in either this space or this space for you to break even. I know we can do that, especially because I know the competitors, I know the quality of their work, and I think you're superior. I guarantee you're not doing the level of in-depth market research that we are, and they probably don't know about cool things like Blab and other platforms out there to get their brand out. So we can make that work. However, the question was, okay, so what happens after 4 months? Like, oh, we go back to regular pricing. So, oh, did the math. Oh, that's this much a year. So, well, you know, our goal is to hopefully that you're going to get a positive ROI by month 4. However, there's another option for you. So, okay, so what's that? I said, after month 4, we'll draw up a contract for 10% ownership in your business. He said, oh, okay, you know, we can talk about that. And I said, well, if you think about it, you want to get to a revenue of 2 million. What you're going to get from us is much more than just the marketing, because I said we're digital business growth strategists. So what they're going to get is a company is going to come in and do their marketing. And if we need be, we will outsource the financial strategies and the operational strategies to our strategic partners that are under our umbrella and say, you know what, we will pay you 2% of the profits that come in to manage this aspect of their business. So if you're looking at $2 million in revenue, or $2 million, all right, so let's say, I don't know, let's say he's bringing in maybe net 700,000 or something like that, and you do the math, and we take 10% of that, which is what, $70,000, and these people are going to take, 2% of that. Hey, that's not a bad payday for just coming in and coming up with a strategy and just managing that on a monthly basis. You do that five times, 6, 7 times, you've got, a lot of money coming in month after month after month after month. So that's another way to really leverage your business, get a little piece of a lot of other businesses that need your intellectual capital yet can't afford it. So as a result, we actually had that done to us. We had a larger organization that said, we want to grow. We have some projects that need some marketing, and we don't want to outsource it. Now, I'm a huge proponent for keeping as much in-house as you can. I'm big on efficiencies, and I think that when you start to outsource too much, things get lost in translation. For instance, I was explaining, you know what, a lot of companies have a web designer and they have a marketing team or digital marketing team. If something needs to be done on the back end of the website, like some SEO, title, keywords, all that stuff, meta tags, all of that, we need to contact or have you contact a web designer. Who knows when that person is going to get back to us? And I've had it happen, and it's just ridiculously long. So you need to keep a lot of that stuff, if you can, in-house, because now you can get it done like that. The faster you get it done, the more efficiently you run. Time is money. So that's the way that we were thinking. So the same company was like, hey, guess what, Frank? We're working on 3 projects. They're about to, we're going to invest this much money. It was well over $1 million. You don't have to pay anything, no capital. You get to come on in. All we want you to do is to put the marketing together for these companies. We're expected, I can't really disclose, but they're expecting the revenue to be between just for one of the companies, be 5 to 10 mil a year once they turn it around. Now, these guys are business growth strategists. That's what they do. Huge. Yeah, you're right. Huge. And they said, hey, Frank, I mean, I literally had to interview for this. I mean, I knew the guys, but I still had to interview for this. They said, you know what? We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that part. You know how to do that. If we can hand this stuff over to you, we can go out and find other business. And you keep 10% of whatever percentage ownership we have in the company. So if they have 10% ownership in a $5 million revenue company, and I get 10% of that, that's not a bad payday for not having to go out and find the business. And all I do is what I love to do, the marketing. So that is some really valuable ways that you can leverage your business or position it for growth. I think too many times we try to keep our ties on so much that we end up suffocating. We need an SEO. We need an SEO person. And I was at an event and ran into an independent consultant that does SEO. I was asking him, hey, what do you charge? What do you blah, 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 blah. Right now, we're considering, hey, you know what? You can stay independent, but why don't you come underneath our umbrella? Now you're going to have access to all of our clients. So now that's actually freed up some time for us. I don't have to worry about hiring more people. It's actually a cost savings for me, and it makes me run more efficiently and actually look much better for my clients. So it really surprises me how many entrepreneurs are out there trying to do everything. I really think that if more of us work together and strategically used each other's services, everybody would profit much, much more. It's helped my business out immensely. True story. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've written music. I'm actually sitting in my studio right now, which doubles as my office. Got away from it. Corporate America just drowned me. So I stopped writing. One of my friends went on to be a producer. He worked with El DeBarge, several Grammy-nominated people. He bounces between Chicago and Salamanca, Spain. So we recently picked up a musical artist in Chicago. And after doing so much research, we realized that there was a real market for this. So what we position ourselves to do now is we have a producer who's overseas, who has access to United Kingdom market, Spain, Germany, all of those markets, knows the places, knows the people. He also has connections to recording studios and engineers and everything out here in Chicago. So as a result of that, we're right now drawing up all the paperwork to form an organization where both of our companies are going to fall underneath that, and we're going to manage these artists and leverage our connections. So now we're able to reach both Europe and Chicago and bring a stable number of artists underneath our direction for marketing. And we don't have to go out and find a producer. We don't have to find a writer. We don't have to go out there and find the connections. We don't have to do any of that stuff. And as I mentioned, there's already a strategic, organizational, and financial strategist operating underneath our umbrella. So we simply would give them a percentage of the business to handle all the financials and all of that stuff for all of our artists. So that's what's happening right now. So that's another example of how we've leveraged our business and strategically positioned it for growth by utilizing the strengths of a lot of other people around us. So anyway, um, hey, next time, Crystal, you need to jump in and be on the video, and it'd be great to have you as a co-chair. I really appreciate you listening. I'm trying to get on Blab and bring some things that are going to be of value. Um, I don't know, maybe I'm just a little skeptical. I have a couple blabs coming out now called Get Off the Content Marketing Hamster Wheel. Thank you. Thank you very much. I've just personally, I'm seeing a lot of the same content repeated over and over and over out here on Blab. And I understand that there's people that are new to the business and really need to learn some things about getting a following and marketing on Twitter and or Pinterest and all of that. So I think there's enough blabs out there about that. What I've always found to be lacking is how do you actually really grow your company? And what are some things that you can do to grow your company? What are your pain points? How do you get over that? What are some things that you can do to make it easier for you to reach your revenue goals? And I really believe that it's those people that are willing to let go of some of that control and think, hey, you know what? Okay, I got 90% ownership in my company. I told this guy, so if you get up to 2 million in revenue, we keep 10%. I mean, you get to keep $1.8 million. That's not a bad deal. And that's a great deal, But if you're going to try to do that by yourself, so you have a family, you have employee issues, you're out there trying to do all these estimates for people, and now if somebody calls off of work, now you're hurting. Oh, by the way, you still have to handle all the backroom stuff, all the financial stuff. Oh, how am I going to do projections on my pricing and all? You don't have time to do that stuff. You just don't. I mean, I barely have time to do that. So you're really plateauing. Another thing that I'd like to talk about in the future, I'm going to let you go, is just leadership in organizations. And the reason I talk about that is I think it's really important when you're building your company. I take a lot of my leadership. Got my shirt on right here, West Point. So I take a lot of my leadership from my experiences in the military, and I see Army Wives 101. Are you an Army wife, or you? Big props to you. Thank you for your service. Oh, thank you so much. Many props. I mean, I will tell you this, Army wife. I don't know where you're located, but if you're sweet. If you're, I went to Bragg. Gosh, I'm trying to think what I went there for. So there's 101. Is that the 101st? Screaming Eagles, right? Is that or is that because I don't want to offend anybody. 82nd Airborne. Yeah. I'm sorry. I only did my five jumps, and that was it. So I did my 5, got my wings, and that was it. So, but there's actually a great resource for men that are looking to get out of the military when they do, because we're finding a lot of veterans are having a hard time making the transition. And I don't really think that corporate America really values what military veterans bring to the workforce. I mean, that have worked, the few companies I think that really get it have said, I will hire a military anytime. And I was just talking to a guy the other day. He said, and I have to echo his sentiments. The thing I miss most about being in the military is the camaraderie. I knew that I would do anything for my men. They would do anything for me. I could think of some crazy things that they would do to just have my back. And you just didn't get that out here in the civilian world. Also, I find that, when I first got out the military, it was a little bit hard for me to adjust. I mean, I've been out for like 10 years or so, but I remember sitting in a meeting in the pharma industry, and people were just complaining, and and nobody wanted to hang out with me, and I'm like, why nobody want to hang out with me? And I talked to the manager, and he said, well, he said, you got to realize that people are different personalities. You had this DISC profile, DISC. He said, you're a D. The way I handle you is I tell you what to do, and I don't tell you how to do it. If you need help, you'll come to me. I don't praise you openly for it because you don't want to be praised openly for it. So I just tell, if you need help, you'll come to me. Other people need me to hold their hands. Other people need to be praised in public. Other people need to know that it has worked before I even try it. With the military, people, I think, were not. When I heard all these complaints, I'm thinking, just be like Nike, just do it. There's always a way. You can do it. Just figure it out. It's not the end of the world. I mean, I wasn't saying it that mean, but it's what I was thinking. And I found that what may take somebody 2 weeks to do in the civilian sectors, somebody in the military get it done in 3 days. 3 days, and they'll figure out the way to do it. So I've taken that same leadership philosophy with me into when I started building my team. And I was really touched the other day when a girl who started out as an intern, I think she's now going to be becoming an employee of ours because she's just been amazing. Still in college, just amazing. But one thing I did with her is I trusted her knowledge as a millennial, and I stretched her boundaries in thinking. I never would say, this is what you do and this is how you do it. I would say, this is what we need to get done. What do you think? And she would start thinking and going through it and come back. And my reaction would be, those are some really good ideas, but have you thought about this? And I always incorporated part of her ideas, or sometimes all of it, into our plan. So she said, you know what? I really love working for you because you let me grow. You don't just tell me what to do and I have to do it that way. You help me to figure out how to figure certain things out. And actually, one of the first things I taught her was about leveraging, because when I told her about opportunity, she said, "Well, are you going to tell them that? Are you going to present them that? Are you going to bring this musical artist on board because you have the connections to possibly get them a record deal?" And I said, "No. Why would they come over to us right now? They have a big following. They're doing fairly well. They're not being managed right, but they really have no reason to come over to us. However, if we're able to say, hey, guess what? We can get you a gig in England, in Spain, in Germany. Nobody knows who you are. We can get you a production. We can get you a producer. Oh, by the way, we're also going to offer you benefits. I bet you don't have benefits." I said, now we asked them to come over to us. And she said, huh. And she started putting everything together. So now when she talks, she's always talking in terms of leveraging the business and helping us grow. So I'm going to talk about leadership next time. So anyway, only had 4 people that popped in. I think one of them was me, so that's 3. But it doesn't matter. And what they say, if each one can teach one, maybe we'll reach one. So as long as I reach one person, I hope that it brought some value. And Army Wives 101, 82nd Airborne, Hua, give your husband some props for me. Tell him I said thank you for his service. And next time I have one of these blabs, I'd be very honored to have you step in and co-chair with me. And I really would like to hear about what you do in your business because I think we all can learn from each other. And I'm a sponge. You can't think that you're the best in the room. And playing off the strengths of other people is super, super, super important. And I'd really like to hear a lot of your your blogs on. You said you're a lifestyle blogger, so I'd be really interested in hearing about that. You're peeking in, hon. So I guess you could say my wife is an army wife, although I was out of the army when we met. She did have an opportunity to visit West Point for my hey, once an army wife, always one, right? Yeah, hooah! So she she was amazed. We drove up to the gate. They were like, I mean, here I am, not even in the army anymore. And they're like, yes, sir, sir, sir. You know, so it was just a really different type of atmosphere, and it's just such a camaraderie. So yeah, any army wife is always open to jump on my blabs, and I really want to hear about your lifestyle blogging because um, I do want to learn more about blogging and like to hear some of your secrets and if anything I did provided value to you. You can hit the tell little bird, and I'll share the replay with you once it's all finished. Okay. So thank you very much for coming out. I really appreciate it. Jump on one of our other blogs happening, blabs happening the next couple days, and I'll see you. Okay. You have a nice evening. Take care. God bless. Bye bye.